Today I'm going to be breaking down how you can use super witches here at Townhall 13 to 3-star any base. So I wanted to kick off this video with something special. Just to celebrate 400 subscribers, we are going to be doing a gold pass giveaway. There is going to be a gold pass given away in the next 5 videos. So this one and then the 4 videos after. All you have to do is go ahead, like, comment and subscribe on each of those videos. You'll be given 1 entry per video, so go ahead and subscribe, like and comment right now to be entered in with a chance. So of course the strategy we're going to be taking a look at today is super witches. They are really strong here at Townhall 13 and we're going to be bringing them in combination with those lightning spells. So typically super witches, they have a couple of weaknesses and that is why we're going to be bringing in those lightning spells just to try and eliminate 1 or 2 of them. Kicking off proceedings though, we're always going to be starting off with that Grand Warden. We have the Rage Gem on him. Now sometimes when it comes to super witches you may also see the variations which do include the Fireball, but in this particular one, like I said, we are going to be bringing in those lightning spells and you'll see they are going to be coming in right here. We're taking down the enemy queen, the Expo, as well as that scatter shot. Moving back on out, you guys can see we're just going to continue on with that Grand Warden. Typically we're going to use those lightning and earthquake spells on the same side that the Grand Warden is charging in, just to help speed along that funnel a little bit. Down here on that bottom section of the base, we are going to be going ahead and using a Yeti alongside a wizard just to clear 1 or 2 buildings. Again, just to help set that funnel ever so slightly more. That is going to do enough that we can then go ahead and drop down our siege barracks. Now the goal for this siege barracks is of course to do some serious funneling as well. Ideally we're looking for them to walk up this left hand side of the base. The only troublesome thing we have here is we have the double enemy hero, so bear in mind you may need to drop down your king like we have here with a headhunter just to help support if there's any enemy heroes in that area. Continuing on, we're going to be using a couple of super wall breakers to open up compartments here in the center of the base. Of course, sometimes you're going to be coming in against pretty awkward looking bases that have these open wall compartments. This kind of forces your wall breakers to do silly things, but you guys can see right here, unfortunately all of our big boys have kind of abandoned us off to this left hand side, but with that Grand Warden and with the king and the siege barracks on the opposite side, we've created enough of a funnel that the majority of our troops have now pushed into the core of the base. Unfortunately, yeah, they are now making their way onto the outside ever so slightly, but they should hopefully loop back around and push there into the core. We had some Yetis coming out of that siege barracks. We're going to be raging our troops as they progress through into the core. Remember, when it comes down to your spell usage, you of course want to use those rage spells typically on the healers as well as your super witches, because those healers under the rage are of course going to be able to do more healing work. We use that Eternal Tome ability there in the core while our troops were pretty vulnerable. That helps just to protect them a little bit. The queen is going to snipe off that town hall from a distance. Royal Champion's going to be coming in with that Seeking Shield and the life gem on her. You can bring of course whatever equipment you like. I do tend to try and go for the epic equipment if you can possibly get it. Of course those electro boots still super strong, but of course whatever you guys can get is going to be nice. Continuing through on the back end, yeah, we've already crushed this one and you'll see even a couple of things maybe didn't quite go our way. We lost the siege barracks pretty early on. The king maybe didn't quite get as far into the base as we were looking for. The super witches walked a little bit, but we still did enough that this ends up a 3-star. So we have 2 more examples. Let's jump in and we'll break them down. So moving on to the second example, we have a few more closed off wall compartments. So a little bit different to that previous base example, and we have 3 multi-target infernos, should I say. Lots and lots of zap value over here. You'll see we were able to identify a scatter shot, inferno tower and an expo. So 3 fairly core defenses. We're able to use those lightnings and earthquakes just to take out some of them. And again, of course, we are using that Grand Warden Walk on the same side just to help speed along that funnel. We want to really push the fact that we are creating as much of a funnel as possible. Now you'll notice on this particular one, we actually didn't drop down all of our heroes originally for that Grand Warden Walk. We held on to a couple, and that's just so when we can drop down our super witches, we can get some healers onto them straight away. But unfortunately our Grand Warden was taking a significant amount of damage, so we did end up having to go ahead and drop down the rest of our healers. Super Wallbreaker, you're probably going to want to use them to open up a compartment here for the super witches. That's exactly what we do. This is exactly what we don't want to happen though. We wanted our troops to walk either into this compartment right here or up to this left hand side, but unfortunately because we were a little bit delayed on our super wall breaker and we only had one of them, that opens up this compartment and everything ends up walking into that compartment. But regardless, we're still going to be pushing into the base. The only issue we might have now, that left hand side is not really funneled. We're going to be using that jump spell there. In the core, we are going to be raging everything up. We're going to be using that Eternal Tome as we get into this heavy Town Hall compartment. We have, of course, the Archer Towers, all the Teslas. We have the Town Hall itself, scatter shot over from that left-hand side as well, raining down fire. But we're going to be continuing to push on through that Ice Golem, popping beautifully in the core of the base, allowing us to get through some of these defenses even while they are frozen up. Continuing to push on through, Eagle Artillery goes down to our Queen. Royal Champion now going to join in the fight from that left-hand side of the base. Again, typically what you're going to want to do with her is bring her in from a section of the base that's also going to aid in your funneling. So of course, we're going to push her up through some of these defenses over here. That is hopefully going to keep the majority of these Super Witches in the core of the base. There is her ability going to get popped off right there. She's going to take down that Wizard Tower, and then hopefully these troops should continue to make some progress into the base rather than out of the base. Royal Champion, unfortunately, probably going to end up going down to this top section of the base, but still we are looking pretty comfortable. In saying that, all of our troops have now walked onto the outside, which typically in Super Witch attacks isn't really what you're looking for. Of course, you want to try and keep them in the core if you can, but it's not the end of the world because we've already dealt with all of the key defenses. We only have a couple of cannons, Wizard Tower, the enemy king could potentially be an issue over here, but because we have so many troops of our own, we still have that Grand Warden, of course, with the Rage Gem. We have the Queen, had the healer puppet with her as well, and the king just bringing the regular old equipment. Yeah, this one is pretty much crushed already. We're just going to speed through the back end here, because there's lots of time but not many buildings to take down, which means we're probably going to be bashing on walls for the end of this attack, and of course that is exactly what we're doing. There is the 3-star going to be coming in. One more example, let's hop on over and take a look. And here we go, that third and final example. Again, 5 healers is what we're going to be bringing in. Typically you can see here we're only going to drop down a couple of healers. This is what I was talking about at the start. On this particular example, unfortunately, we don't quite get as much as that value as we did on the previous one, but we're still able to take down a scatter shot as well as an expo. So typically you're always going to look to take down a scatter shot, and then what other key defenses you can possibly grab that are next to them. Again, Grand Warden, of course, walking on that same side. We're then going to use the Yeti and the Wizard over on the opposite side to clear out 1 or 2 buildings. Typically the Yeti can tank for enough time that your Wizard can take down one of those junk buildings, and then the Yeti with those Yeti mites can take down the defense that they are targeting. Definitely setting up our funnel just ever so slightly better on this particular example. You can see we used the Yeti and the Wizard, cleared out 2 buildings. This pushes our siege barracks as well as our king the correct direction. Continuing to push on through, our Super Witches should make progress straight into this Town Hall compartment. Need to be careful when those clan castle troops do come out, because of course we don't have a poison spell in this particular army. We choose to bring those lightning spells instead, but what you can do, of course, when we're coming under really heavy fire from those clan castle troops, from the Town Hall, from any core defenses, you can of course bring in that Eternal Tome ability from the Grand Warden. Now when it comes to troops from your siege barracks, you can see we do have a couple of Yetis coming out here. Typically Yetis are okay, but it wouldn't be my choice of troop. I would potentially go for Hog Riders. You could also be looking at super minions, something like that. The super minions from afar can do some really nice damage, especially coming out of that siege barracks late on into the attack. Unfortunately on this one, our healers kind of got held up on the back end on a couple of big boys, but eventually they break through that wall section and they can rejoin in the fight. Royal Champion again swung around from this bottom section of the base, helping to keep all of our troops all together in a big huddle so those healers can get maximum value and make sure they're doing lots and lots of healing. But last couple of defenses going down right there, and of course we finish another 3-star here at the barracks. Reminding you guys to go ahead and subscribe if you have not already. We do have that giveaway running over the next few videos, so make sure you join in all of those as well. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.